Hello, learners and performers. My name is EJ LeBlanc, and I'm a human learning and performance architect. Today, we're going to be speaking with John D Saunders, an amazingly talented and driven entrepreneur. I first became aware of John through the free stock images offered through blackillustrations.com, and it was offered at launch a little more than a year ago. What a difference from a year ago. The obvious growth that's happened in so short a time. I was inspired. So I decided to reach out, ask John for an interview. So today we talked to John about his portfolio of companies, his drive to identify and meet needs in the marketplace, and some high-level management principles for small studios. Watch to the end to see a cursory review of John's new course, Studio Accelerator 2.0, where John shares the secrets he employed to make over $500,000 in revenue in 2020. All this and more on today's episode of Learn and Perform. So please, by all means, tell us about you.
Yeah, no, awesome. Thank you, EJ, and I appreciate you having me on the show. Excited to chop it up and collab. So for me, by trade, I'm a web designer and an entrepreneur. I'm the founder of 54 Digital. So we're a web design agency that focuses on branding and creating website entities for startups. And that's pretty much where my focus lies. And being an agency owner, it's great because we work with a lot of startups, but then I'm also able to leverage my own ideas and be able to lean on myself and my team to execute. So with Black Illustrations, the idea essentially just came about because I was just looking for more diverse illustrations for use in a lot of our projects. And I just couldn't find it in the marketplace. And I felt like, well, if I can't find it, why not just create it ourselves? We have the team, we have the dynamic, we have the processes, we can go ahead and do it. And so we executed, man. And this was last March. It might have been even the end of February when I had the idea, and I was like, you got to execute this. I have to get this out of my brain and on paper and out into the masses. And so I wanted it to be approachable because with Shutterstock and a lot of these other websites, it's really expensive to get these images, right? Illustrations can be $89, $99 per illustration. So I was like, okay, first thing we need to do is we need to make a free, high quality illustration pack that anyone can access that shows a diverse set of Black people, right? In the office space, doing different things, just a lot of engagement and excitement around the brand. And so
I'm sorry, I know that downloading those free assets is actually how I discovered you and started following you.
Awesome. I love that. Yeah. And what's crazy, EJ, is when I launched it, being a digital marketer and the kind of strategist before I got into web design helped because I pushed it on Product Hunt and I just literally just put it out there. No kind of we didn't spend any money. I mean, we spent money on building everything out, but we didn't spend any money promoting it. And it just caught on like wildfire. People loved it. It was getting hundreds and hundreds of downloads a day. To this day, we've had almost 600, 700,000 people visit the site. We've had over 65,000 downloads. We've been featured in Oprah magazine, as you can see up there. So, my thought is I just want to get as many illustrations out as possible. So we release new packs every couple of weeks. We're coming out with a new healthcare pack this week as well. And we just have a ton of from real estate to the outdoors, to children, to education. We have probably 5,000 plus illustrations on the site right now. And we just released a 3D pack, our first 3D illustration pack, where it has 3D model figures that you can play with, move, and use in any way that you like. So it's been an exciting run so far.
That's awesome. What software do you need to use in order to interact with the three? Is it like Fuse or?
Yeah, so the 3D ones, we wanted to make it approachable for everyone. So we have individuals in a static position, which are PNG, JPEG files. But then if you want to be able to manipulate and edit, all you need is Blender. And Blender is actually a free software you can use to dynamically move around these characters and create and design how you like. So it really it worked out really well.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool.
And
so far, I haven't seen the 3D models, but I'll definitely check that out. But the thing that I like, and what really caught my eye was just how, for the free assets that you talked about at the beginning, they were of such a high quality in comparison to the other quote unquote free assets that you see out there. And legitimately, it's meeting a need, as is evidenced by your success. The fact that I go to Shutterstock and I look at the vector images, I have to be intensely specific and do some work if I want to find characters of color. I have to peel through the layers.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that since your success, it's not as hard to look for these assets on other platforms as well. So, and that was, you know, more than anything else, I think that the success that you're having is not, a rising tide lifts all ships, right? And I think the other assets providers have taken note and have said, "Wow, hey, let's go ahead and make it not so hard to find." Uh, and so you're definitely setting a great example there.
Thank
Uh,
you. Thank you. And
so
yeah, it's really about having that dynamic shift and letting people know like, wow, this is something that, that we need. But absolutely, I appreciate that.
yeah. Uh, so as far as you just celebrate your first anniversary, what's that like?
Yeah, it's been great. We're growing exponentially. We introduced a subscription service to our illustrations. So essentially, you can subscribe. It's $89 a quarter, and you get unlimited access to all the illustrations that we've created. So it's pretty much a steal. And we just hit a benchmark of 115 monthly subscribers. We have had over 70,000 or almost 70,000. We're about to hit that benchmark as well. Downloads on the platform. So it's just been an amazing experience growing this thing out. And so the next steps are just to increase the frequency of illustration releases, start to release more templates. And then we have a ton of freebies on the site as well. So we have 6 or 7 free illustration packs on the site, and then the rest are paid, but they're really affordable and really comparable to what's out there. And we've seen this create ripples in the industry.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, from your perspective, how is it like to see the ripple effect that you're having?
It's great. People send us feedback and they're like, this is something that I've been looking for. It's so hard to find illustrations out there, and this is fulfilling my need. So hard to find illustrations like these because we literally have illustrations of a woman with dreads with a VR set. Where can you find that anywhere? It's literally nowhere, right? Because the diversity is just not there. So
Right.
to be able to create these illustrations and images of, a man with locks on his laptop, or a woman in STEM or construction, it's really doing a lot for the industry.
That's awesome. It's funny you should mention the locks. John Oliver just released an excellent video.
By the 1960s and 70s, though, the embrace of black hair's natural texture and culturally significant styles had become a radical act of self-acceptance and political power.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man?
White people. The answer is white people. That question answers itself, just like the answer to the questions, who lets their dogs kiss them in the mouth, who wants to pick apples for fun, and who's coming to dinner on Ina Garten's show? The answer is white people.
Like, for example, John Oliver mentioned several instances where people of color, specifically a black lady, was asked to remove her dreadlocks, to just get rid of it, clearly indicating not only a lack of awareness. I think that he was too kind. He was mentioning that there was a lack of awareness, but a complete unwillingness to become aware, right? To hear the other, to hear what was up, and to learn, to take a moment, right? And so I think that thank you for contributing your voice to the marketplace, and thank you for the hard work in making it happen. I am in awe of your success.
Thank
and
you.
Yeah, and it's really it's a beautiful thing to watch. It's something that I'm really happy to be a part of, to be a downloader and to use your assets. And it's good stuff, man.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Like, really and truly.
So as far as what do you have planned next?
Oh man, so many things. So we have three illustration packs for this month that we're releasing. We're trying to increase the frequency. I want to get it to like every week we're releasing an illustration pack. Right now we're doing about 2 to 3, but I like to do at least 1 to 2 per week to lock those in and make sure that we're creating this entirely huge library of content. So right now we literally just lean on our community. We have about 40,000 email subscribers. So we ask them, hey, what illustrations are you looking for? We take consensus and we take feedback from the community, and that really helps us create content that's definitive and that helps. And so we're actually introducing a few different style illustrations coming up because more people are looking for like a little bit more abstract and kind of cool look and feel. We're collaborating with other illustrators. So one thing that we've done is for specific packs, it's called our artist series, where we'll collaborate with a Black illustrator, and then we'll compensate them for the illustration pack, and then they get a percentage of every sale of that illustration. So that's something that we're pushing heavily right now. We also released another platform called illustratorhub.com. So one thing that we ran into was a lot of people were coming to us and saying, hey, I'd love some custom illustrations done for my business. Can you help with that? And we'll take usually clients that are larger, just because a lot of the projects are like, hey, they just need 4 or 5 illustrations. So we actually launched illustratorhub.com, where you can hire talented Black illustrators for your next project. So we have probably around 150 plus illustrators on the platform where you can find talent. It's completely free. Companies can go on there, check out an illustrator's work, and contact them directly. It's really easy to use, and it's just done really well. We've had illustrators book dozens of projects on there. We have one illustrator that we collaborated with that's on this platform that says she can't even help us because she's getting so much work from the platform. So it's really just kind of sharing that success with other illustrators, because a lot of folks don't even realize that there are a lot of talented illustrators out there that are people of color or African American or Black descent that just need access and exposure. And so with Illustrator Hub, if you go to find talent, you can literally within minutes find talented illustrators. You don't have to go through a paywall or any type of craziness. We just wanted to create this platform to provide, value to our community.
Yeah, I think that's needed in the conversation, as evidenced by all kinds of stuff, man. So I think this is beautiful. You get to see your work, at your blackillustrations.com work front and center on the website, and I'm glad to see big names like Google and the CDC and these others highlighted working with you.
It's pretty insane. Like I was on Twitter and I saw a video that the CDC was releasing to the public, and it had our illustrations in it, and I was just amazed and taken aback and just happy, that they're using our illustrations, that they're leveraging the tools that we're providing.
That is a wonderful thing. So where else can people find you? Like, do you want to? What's your Twitter handle? And
yeah, sure. You can find me anywhere on pretty much John D, as in dog, Saunders. You can find me on Twitter, John D Saunders, Instagram, John D Saunders, Facebook, same thing. And yeah, I'm happy to connect. I'm happy to answer questions. I'm focused on really helping scale this thing out.
Well, as far as you were mentioning 5-4 media working with small businesses, what is that like? And what's your value stream look like for that?
It's been great, man. It's kind of crazy because as an agency owner, as a startup owner myself, a lot of times we'll build out products, and a lot of times the best products that you release are things that you built for yourself. So if you look at Slack, for example, the communication tool, that was built internally for their agency just to communicate, right? You look at Facebook, was used to communicate internally via college, right? It wasn't necessarily meant to be this huge monolith, but ultimately, for me, if I see something that's missing in the marketplace, I'm lucky enough to have the systems and the agency to be able to make that thing real. So for us, we primarily work with a lot of startups. So they might be Series A, they might be Series B, they might be, before funding. And we're able to leverage our skills to help them. And what's happened since we released Black Illustrations, we've actually got an influx of leads, which I didn't realize would happen. People are just like, hey, you're the founder of Black Illustrations. I want to collaborate with you. And I want you to do our website and our branding, because not only did we want to release a platform of illustrations featuring Black people, but we wanted to make this a high quality product that anyone could leverage. And I think that speaks volumes, especially when people are looking for another agency to work with. So, it was almost like a win-win, because I didn't realize that was going to be part of it. I just figured, this is something the marketplace needs. I just want to get it out there, because if I don't, I'm going to drive myself crazy. So that was my thought process behind it, and it just worked out really well.
So whenever you were setting that up, both on the 5/4 side and with the blackillustrator.com, blackillustrations.com, and with illustratorhub.com, can you describe your process? Because you mentioned earlier, we were able to execute. How are you able to execute? What's your framework for doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, one thing that helps a lot is I'm a systems guy. So if you look at my book, it's in my library, like the E-Myth, 4-hour work week. What are some other ones? There's a story brand like Traction. So a lot of the books that I read are just about building systems in your business so you can scale and execute at a high level. So we had already had like a branding, web design development strategy in place. So it really is just taking Black Illustrations as an idea and almost treating it like a startup client and walking the business through our idea and process, and then giving it legs and letting it run. So I always tell business owners, build systems as soon as you can. Even if you're a freelancer, even if you're just working on your own, just document everything that you're doing, because as you document, you're essentially creating your own IP, right? Because now you have a proprietary way of doing things. You can delegate to other team members. I work from home. My agency is 10 people. We're all remote. We have team members here in the US and team members abroad. So it works out well for us. And having those systems mitigates issues, because you can just literally go step by step through the directions and get the job done.
That's awesome. I got more time. I'm gonna use it. What's it like to manage the remote workforce?
It's of course it can be challenging at times, but for the most part, since we've been doing it so long, when I launched 5/4 Digital about 7 years ago, I told other agency owners, I'm not going to have an office. I'd rather just work remotely from home. I can help my team manage. We use Asana for task management, Slack for team communication. So I think we have a good dynamic here. And people are like, well, you need an office, you need to have a space to meet clients and this and that. And I thought, well, I can allocate those funds to finding great people, and we can work collaboratively online. So we had kind of gone through a lot of the bumps and bruises earlier on. So by the time like the last 1.5, 2 years, people started to transition to remote, we were already there. So we saw an influx of just people coming to us and saying, hey, how do we do this? How do we move to digital? So it was a perfect storm, because one, we built systems in our agency that we then sell or consult on. And then it was also one of those things where we were already prepared for this transition. So when we started to get that influx of leads from Black Illustrations, as well as just people looking like saying, hey, I can't be my physical storefront because it doesn't work. How do I make it digital? So it just kind of worked into a windfall that helped.
That's awesome. What was that like whenever COVID-19 hit? Did you like almost everyone else had to pivot, right?
Yeah.
Was your business model disrupted at all based off of what you're saying?
It was. So when March came and then things started to shut down, full transparency, like we had no leads for like 3 or 4 weeks. So at that point, I'm just like, okay, at that point I'm getting a little nervous. I'm like, okay, what can we do to kind of pivot on this? So we started just doing other things, started making templates and reselling those templates to other agency owners and freelancers. I worked on my course and started to release that. And so then
where's your course? I'm sorry to interrupt. Where's your course at?
Yeah, so I have a personal course. It's called the Web Design Studio Accelerator, where I teach just other web design agency owners how to build and sustain and scale a web design agency. So, but then once week 4 hit, it was like insane. We were getting leads from everywhere, from existing clients, from prospects, from referrals, from people that have seen our work, and from Black Illustrations, and it just started to come in like crazy, because people were, they kind of like settled into what was going on, and they're like, okay, we need to get to work and we need to get things done. So it worked out. But then by then we had already created some templates. The course was already live. So now we're doing, we have all these things kind of going on that help supplement that.
That's amazing, man. So thank you for your time today. Thank you for you sharing your knowledge and expertise. And really, I'd like actually to use the last 5 minutes of your time, as a potential customer. So thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you sharing today. And I wish you the continued success. And thank you for identifying and meeting valid needs and doing what it takes in order to execute to meet them.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
John, again, thank you so much for agreeing to meet with me and share your knowledge and expertise so freely. After our conversation, I went ahead and bought the 3D model pack and a seat at the Studio Accelerator 2.0. I started the course. I haven't finished it yet, but already it's been enormously beneficial. John shares in a pretty transparent manner exactly what his procedures and processes are, and he gives detailed templates for just about everything that he does. And I'm excited to begin leveraging these resources and best practices in my own business. And I hope to share more in the near future about my thoughts on this and how I am applying these concepts to my own business. Again, you can get in touch with John and his portfolio of companies at johndsaunders.com. In our next episode, we'll be speaking with Guy Wallace, a legendary human performance analyst and instructional architect, mentor, and friend who has conducted over 250 projects for over 80 top-tier clients. Thank you for watching and listening. Please like and subscribe, and yes, click the bell icon to be notified when the next episode of Learn and Perform comes online. Keep learning and performing.